Welcome to the Educational Passport Foundation. With the support of Epf.Africa Youth Association and United Nations online volunteers, we have highlighted real stories regarding migration, education, poverty, and unemployment in the Republic of the Gambia. We invite you to watch and discover the current challenges and implications so that we can learn how to help solve them and support.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to EPF Interviews. My name is Alaji from EPF.
And I'm Nabila. I'm a UN online volunteer. Thank you so much for joining us today. As you may know, EPF is a foundation that aims to support the less privileged through the support of Samuka Youth Association from Zimbabwe. Today, we have a very special guest on the line with us today.
And today, here we have the founder of EPF, Maimuna Michelle Nyabally, with us today. Thank you so much for joining us today, Maimuna.
Thank you so much, Alaji, for having me today, and I look forward to the interview.
Thank you.
So to start off, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Who is Maimuna and what is her story?
Well, again, as you guys have introduced me briefly, my name is Maimuna Michelle Nyabally, and I am the founder of the Educational Passport Foundation. I'm a master's graduate in international marketing, and I also hold a bachelor's degree in international business and an international organization management certificate as well, which basically has to do with humanitarian crisis and how you could manage different areas. And that's a bit about me, basically. And yeah.
All right, thank you. And could you tell us a bit about EPF and how it came about?
EPF started when I was in university, actually, when I was pursuing my bachelor's degree in London at the University of Greenwich. Part of my course as international, because I was studying international business, and part of the course actually included to basically look into other countries and their economical status, why they are performing the way they are performing, and create presentations and present it to our lecturers and so on. And because I was so interested in how my country was performing, I basically took it upon myself to look into my country when it comes to certain assignments that we had at university. So rather than choosing another country, I would choose Gambia and Sweden, or Gambia and Germany, and basically compare it. So when I was doing research, I then realized that when it comes to the economical status of Gambia, my country wasn't developing. It wasn't going forward. It wasn't going backwards either. It was just stuck in one place. And I just couldn't understand, because these other countries are doing really good. And the reason why I chose Gambia when I was doing my research was because Gambia is a developing nation. And the reason why I chose Sweden in other assignments was because Sweden is a developed country. So I wanted to understand the way they were performing and the impact it was having, right? But when it came to Gambia, I wasn't seeing any progress at all. So I was like, what's going on? Why is this happening? Why isn't my country developing as it should? So I did further research, and I actually also traveled to Gambia, and I visited schools, and I did some interviews with students, because as we know, the youths are the future, right? So I went to different schools and I did some interviews, and I actually came to a conclusion that the reason why the country is not developing as it should is because a lot of the people, a lot of the young adults, the youths in the country, are not able to have the opportunity to pursue with their education to get to the point that they wish to get. There is a lack of investment. And this is all because a lot of these parents have to sponsor their children throughout their education, but due to financial difficulties, they are not able to do so. Therefore, the child is forced to drop out of school early. And this way, the country doesn't have the people that they need to push it forward. And for me, I was like, okay, this is really bad, because the economy needs to go somewhere. We need to progress as a nation, right? So, and then I also had someone who was really close to me who dropped out of school, had nobody to support them, and they embarked the irregular migration route to Europe. And I was at university when I heard this news, and I just had this shock inside of me. I just didn't know how to process it. I just didn't understand, oh, wow, this person is embarking in this journey because they do not have anyone to support them. And then I recall when I went to Gambia and I was doing this research that a lot of people, when I was asking them, if you had the chance to embark on this journey, would you? Majority of them said yes, because they felt like they don't have anyone that will sponsor them basically to pursue their education. A lot of them know that they are going to drop out of school. Some of them already dropped out of school. So when this happened, when this person that I knew, when I heard the news that they embark on this journey, I just couldn't imagine if my child was supposed to embark on that particular journey. I'm not even a mother, but I can't imagine being a mom and my child having to embark on that journey just because they want to make sure that I am okay. They're risking their life, right? So when all that happened, I was like, something has to be done. And I feel like when it comes to Gambia, we have a lot of charities available, whereas they sponsor children until a certain age. But then when you become a young adult, people see you as someone that should be able to take care of yourself. You need to be able to take care of yourself. You have nobody that will sponsor you. And this is the time when you actually need a lot of people to be behind you and sponsor you, right? Because you can't just sponsor a child throughout their education when they're a child. And then when they start getting older, you just put everything on them and they have nobody that will sponsor them. So all this irrational decision comes into the mind of people. So when this news came to me, I was like, wow, he must have been so frustrated to the point that he felt like there's no hope in the country. So he embarked on this journey to Europe so that his family could be okay. So I felt like we need to invest in our youths, especially the young adults. And this is where the educational passport came into account, to basically target the people that drop out of school because of financial difficulties, give them an opportunity, because we have a lot of intellectual people in Gambia, a lot of intelligent people, but they do not have the opportunity. So when you take these people and you invest in them, you are actually investing in the future, because these people will later on, when you give them that opportunity, they will receive an education, either academic or vocational, whereas they will learn skills with the knowledge that they already have, and they will be part of national development. Because when I was doing research, sorry, it's quite a lot, Gambia doesn't have a solid internal process. Gambia is very dependent on foreign knowledge, on foreign, a lot of things that are in Gambia is extremely dependent. So this is the reason why I came up with the EPF, to basically invest in the youth so that the youth can be the future, so that the youth can basically support Gambia and themselves as well. Because when you invest in one person, you're investing in a whole family, because that one person is opening doors as well. And then when you invest in one family, you're investing in a whole nation. So this is where EPF came. This is how EPF came, sorry. Yeah.
Wow. It is amazing. Listening to you, like we always say, many people, we see the problems and sometimes talk about it, but ignore and do nothing about it. But you came up to say, I have to do something about this. I can't just talk about it. I want to do something about it. Mm-hmm. So what came into your mind? What was your driving force, to take this initiative?
Yeah, I just feel like I'm fortunate enough. I think as Alaji and Nabila, we are fortunate enough to be educated.
Definitely.
But when it comes to Gambia, even though I'm sitting here and I have all this knowledge, there are a lot of people in Gambia that could sit in the same place that I'm sitting right now, and even above it, beyond me, right? But because of financial problems, because of they do not have the money to invest in themselves, they cannot have that opportunity. And that's something that is unfortunate. And because of that, I just feel like that's not right. I want people to have the opportunity, because it's sad when you see people in Gambia and other African countries being they are so intelligent. They have a bright future ahead if they just had someone to support them. But because they don't have anyone, They are left to work within the quantitative labor sector. They are left to do nothing. And because of this, a lot of people fall on the wrong track, whereas they make irrational decisions. For instance, as I stated, risking their life, embarking the irregular migration route. And it's extremely dangerous embarking the irregular migration route. A lot of people get traumatized throughout the journey because they experience seeing people die, a lot of other things, seeing people being abused. And again, Alaji, if we can talk about the Gambia and the crime rate now. Gambia was a country whereas the crime rate was really low back in the days, but nowadays it's extremely high. You can even be in your own house and someone will come into your own house and kill you in your bed because poverty is so high there that people will do whatever to survive. If you wake up in the morning, you do not have what to eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, your mind gets idle, right? Yeah. So you start making decisions that will affect you. So, but if you have someone that could jump in and support you, then your life might turn out better than you actually expect. And this is the driving force that I had, like, okay, I can, with this initiative, and if we all gather as one, because I cannot do everything by myself, that's why I created this charity and stayed united we stand. If we all gather as one and basically just donate $1 or $2, and just for the amount of $2,400, yeah, you could basically sponsor one student throughout their 3-year university. Like one person could actually complete their bachelor's degree for $2,400. That's nothing because that's just a monthly salary. But if we have everyone just joining and basically unite and sponsor these youths who feel like they have no future in their country, this will change. You will change a lot of life. The economy will change and so on. And this is the driving force because again, we are the new generation and we need to try to build a future for our children and our grandchildren. So it all has to start from somewhere. And it's better to say, for me, I feel like rather than sitting down and be like, I don't have anything, I cannot do anything, it's better to start somewhere. Even if it's just basically sharing the word and raising awareness, it is something because you never know where help is going to come. So, my driving force is more of I want everyone to receive the equal opportunity as I did and even more, and basically reach their goal, their dreams that they wish.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think, and I think that's very, it's very right, but also very sad that you said that 3 of us are fortunate enough to have received education, but there's so many people out there who are so much brighter than us and who can do so much better than us. But just something simple as financial assistance, we were lucky enough, God was lucky enough to give that to us, but it is that they are so unfortunate. And I think something as a human right like education, I don't think somebody should be deprived of that, no matter at what level, especially at a higher level like a bachelor's degree. I think it's very important. And also, like you rightly said, that when they get idle, like, there's a saying, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So it's many a times that when people are idle and they have nothing to do, that's when the crime rate and things like that go up. You would see that happen. So I think it's so important that when we're investing, when we're giving this person education, it's not only about keeping them busy, but it's also later afterwards what they're going to do with that. That's the driving force, for them to give back to their country, just the way, Maimuna, you're doing so.
Yeah.
No, for me, it gave me chills,
Me too.
Yeah, definitely. It's so selfless. I meant to think about that. To say, hey, I have this opportunity. We all do, like you said, we have the opportunity. We are blessed. We are lucky enough, to be in a position that, we at least we were able to help ourselves. And for you to take that journey to say, I want it for somebody else. I have this, and I want it for somebody else. I think that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hats off. Yeah.
I mean, I believe in the world, as I said, we need to choose what we want. And I believe we need to try to find a way to help our societies and contribute the best way that we can, because there's always someone that needs help.
Absolutely.
There's always someone that needs help. And one little help can change someone's life forever. And if that person as well extended and help someone else, imagine how many people are going to be helped, right?
Yeah.
So just because you have something, that doesn't mean that it should just be with you, right? For me, I believe when you have something and you see, because education is the reason why I saw this gap. Because I attended university, was doing research, and then I saw this, right?
Exactly.
So imagine if we gave these less privileged who do not have the opportunity, the same opportunity. Imagine the amount of gaps they will see in different sectors, an amount of solutions that they will come up with that I didn't even think of, and that you and Nabila or Alaji didn't think of when it comes to other aspects of things.
Yeah.
So when we invest in each other, we are investing in the future of solutions to problems, right? So that's why I came up with this initiative, basically to support the less privileged, because education is a human right, but unfortunately, it's not everyone that have the opportunity to pursue their education.
Yeah.
And this is something that's unfortunate. And this is what EPF is trying to eliminate. And we are basically trying to help the less privileged, people that do not have parents that are financially stable, and to support them receive an education and also a social network when it comes to employment in Gambia, because we also see people that are that finish their education, but then later on they find it difficult to find employment. And you also see companies who should be expanding, but they do not have the right people, so demand is not created within that company. So when you actually invest on the less privileged who are aiming to make sure that to succeed, and you put them in a social contact of companies who are wishing to expand, imagine what will happen then.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And could you tell us a bit more about the economical status of the Gambia and her GDP per capita, for example?
Wow. The economic state of Gambia is not the best, to be honest. As I previously stated, Gambia is extremely dependent. We do not have a solid internal process. A solid internal process has to do with having skilled workers internally in the country that are able to produce and work and not dependent on foreign aid and foreign resources. If we look at the GDP, the annual growth of the GDP in 2020, and I guess we all know the pandemic occurred, but the annual GDP of 2020 is 0%. And that's something that
Alarming.
Yeah. Previously to that, normally as a developing nation, you should be able to develop up to 10%, right? Per year without being considered an overheating economy. A nation that's developed, if they are developing at the rate of 10%, they will be considered an overheating, and that's not good for the economy, because they always have to be a balance. But when it comes to emerging nations and developing nations, you could actually develop at that rate because you need to get to the point where the developed countries are, right? So if we think about that, the Gambia has to actually have annual GDP rate of 10%, but because of the pandemic, it's on 0%. And previously to that, it's been on 6% and 7%. But because of the pandemic, it went to 0%. This actually indicates how dependent the GDP is on the foreign aid. Basically, people sending back money. Even when it comes to businesses, the products and services that they need to operate is extremely dependent to be imported into the nation. So when all that stops, the economy is not going anywhere. And that's something that is, as you said, is alarming. That's something that's...
Really?
How do you fix that? You basically need to reconsider the investment in the nation. You need to make sure that you invest more in the youths, because having a GDP, because the reason why we say human capital and the reason why people invest is because of crises like this, such as the pandemic. You invest in people so that when things are going wrong, the people are able to be there to basically support the situation and find solutions. So when you do not invest in people that much, or when people are not being invested in, when a crisis occurs, there aren't enough people that are able to basically support what is happening and make sure that they find a solution and make sure that the business is operating as it should. And this is exactly what just happened when it came to the pandemic. Gambia is so dependent on foreign aid. The nation lacks internal process to the point that when the pandemic hit, it hit the world and everyone was affected, but developing countries got more affected. And because Gambia is so dependent, the nation wasn't able to even have a national GDP growth of 1%.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. Yeah,
for a nation. That's really bad, unfortunately. Right. So again, this is where EPF comes into account, whereas we are basically aiming at supporting the less privileged to get a chance to pursue with their education, because again, the dependency ratio in Gambia is about 86%.
Yeah.
That's close to 100. It's more than half of the population.
Yeah.
So right. So it all has to do with human capital, because the nation, the people of the nation are the economical device. So the economy of Gambia needs a lot of improvements. It needs a lot of adjustment. The current account to GDP has not looked really good either. And that actually indicates national health when it comes to inflation, deflation, trade, and so on. And all this is affecting the people, but it can be solved if we actually invest in the people to get the skills and the knowledge to find solutions to this problem.
Yeah, so I think EPF couldn't have come at a better time, because it's perfect, the timing, considering all the difficulties that not only the youth are facing, but also the country as a whole. So I think it's tremendous. And speaking of, like you said, human capital is so important. It's the mechanism to change for the future. So how much of a priority do you think human capital should be for a developing nation like the Gambia?
It should be priority number one for me, because without people, you do not have anything. It's just like, if you want to build a house, you need people to build it, right? That's how human capital is to me. You have an idea, this is what I want, but you need to invest in people to get to that goal, right? So human capital, when it comes to Gambia, it should be the main priority, so that we could reach to a developed country, so that Gambia could be a developed nation.
Yeah, that's true. And how do you think that EPF champions this notion?
Yeah, again, as I stated, our aim is to basically target people who are dropped out of school, who are unfortunate, and basically giving them an opportunity to pursue with their education, either academic or vocational, because not everyone likes academic education, but there's vocational that's available as well. And then in addition to that, we are basically looking for partners who will come in, whereas when this person is pursuing their education in a particular field and you have a company in that particular area, you could actually hire them for a 3 months period, unpaid. We will pay the person, and you could train them. And basically this person will receive skills that's needed for the field that they are educating themselves in. And then you, as a company, when this person has finished their education, you actually have someone that's already skilled that you could hire then. And you already know their work ethics because they've already worked with you, right? So this is where EPF comes into account. So it's not just for the youths, but it's also for the company, right? So when this is happening and we invest in people, the youth, to pursue their education, the company is giving the youth the opportunity to work, and then actually hiring the best people, you will create demand, because when the work is done as it should be done, demand is created. And with that way, the company will expand and more people will start to receive employment. But when you don't invest in the people and you employ people that do not have the skill required, then demand will not be created, because the people do not know what they're doing. Right. So this is where EPF comes into account. We are aiming to invest and basically help businesses in order to develop.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. So you said all of this, from migration to the economic status in the Gambia and all these situations that we have in the Gambia. So it means that Gambia as a country is in a dire situation. So what message do you have for our potential donors, people who might, be watching this, people who might have concern about EPF, what message do you have for them?
The message I basically have for them is to come and support us. As again, united we stand. EPF cannot do everything we cannot do everything by ourselves. We basically need companies, influencers to come and join us to raise awareness about what's happening, in addition to support us so that we could support the less privileged as well. Yeah. So we are basically looking for companies who are CSR, corporate social responsible, because again, united we stand. One person cannot do everything, but when we all gather as one, we are powerful, we are strong, and we can make sure that everyone receive equal opportunity. And EPF is just operating in Gambia right now, but we are operating a bit in Zimbabwe as well, because our partner, Epf.Africa Youth Association, is in Zimbabwe. So despite the fact we will mainly support people in Gambia, we are also supporting students in Zimbabwe as well to return back to school. And in the future, we are also aiming at touching other African countries, because this is not just a crisis that's happening in Gambia. Yeah. It's happening in other African countries and in other Asian countries and so on. So again, when it comes to the donors and companies, come and join us, support our cause, because the more you support us, the more we are able to expand and the more we are able to support more people. And as our goal is to support more people from other countries as well, not just in Gambia.
That's absolutely, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Maimuna. This is what it takes to be a good Samaritan or a good citizen of any nation. You see a problem, you think about it, you do something about it. It's necessary. If we all do this, if we all try to do something, no matter how little it is, it doesn't matter. We do something for our people, change is gonna come. There's a lot of things that we're gonna be able to change. Thank you so much, for joining us today, Maimuna.
Thank you so much. And I would just like to tell the audiences that we are having a $2 campaign. So please share the campaign video, donate, share with family and friends, because united we stand. And I would also like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all the UN online volunteers in this project. You guys have worked really hard to make sure everything is done. Thank you, Nabila, Alaji, and Amanda. You guys have been hosting the interviews. It's not easy, but thank you so much for your contribution. You've done really well. And all the other UN volunteers, everyone has done well.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you said, united we stand. So all of us come together to support the cause. Yeah. So thank you everyone for watching today's video. We hope you enjoyed it. And please don't forget to share our videos and share our social media as well. You can please donate either on our website or on our GoFundMe page. And we hope that you join this cause because, like we always say, united we stand. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
The Educational Passport Foundation. We turn dreams into actions.